Every time you flip your signal light on, the high beams turn on your Chevy truck. I'm going to show you how to diagnose it and how to do a free fix and what the proper fix is. For those of you new to the channel, I'm Anton, a power engineer, industrial mechanic, and a Red Seal electrician. We cover all kinds of products and topics in an approachable way for the average everyday person. I'm glad you found us. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. We recently purchased this 2007 Chevy 2500 HD. We've been working through a lot of the little problems with it. One of the problems that I have is every time I put the right signal light on, the high beams turn on, and it only happens with the right signal light. So let me show you exactly what I mean. So here we are inside the truck. If I turn the left signal light on, you can see the signal goes, no problem. If I turn the right signal light on, you can see the high beam indicator also turns on. Now, if I don't go to full lock and I just hold it up and hold it like that, it doesn't turn the high beams on. It's only when I go that little bit further and then the high beams turn on. Now, it's not just the indicator in here that's happening. The high beams out there are also turning on, and I'll show you. See, there is the high beams on and the signal light going right now. Let's cut right to the chase. The multifunction switch on your steering column is faulty, and that's what's causing the problem. The right solution is to replace your multifunction switch, but money is a little tight, or you're out in an area where this is bothering you, but you don't have access to a brand new part yet. I will show you an inexpensive way to make this problem go away. Now, if you have a slightly older model truck, there is a free fix that I want to show you guys, which will help you out in a pinch, but it is not a great solution, and I'll explain why after I show you how to do this fix. So you're gonna pop your fuse box cover off in your engine bay, and what you're looking for is on the bottom here, it's going to say your high beam light relay and your low beam light relay, and you're looking for those in the engine bay. Now they're going to be gray relays, so it's going to be this one right here, and it's going to be this one right here. Now this view is slightly skewed, but we've pulled the low beam relay out and we've pulled the high beam relay out right here. So the relays are out, and what we're going to do is shove a wire in the ground terminal screw. So that's this back corner right here, and then we're just going to shove it into that hole and then push the relay in to help it get in. If you want, you can wrap the wire around the leg of the relay, or you can just shove it in there and then push that in like that. Give it the old tug test to make sure it's actually connected. And then we want to take the other end of the wire and shove it in this hole right here that's being pointed at. Now, we are not putting this relay back in, so we just need to shove this wire in that hole. Now, I like using a pointy tool, a screwdriver, a probe lead, or something to just shove it in there a little bit better. So here you can see we're using a pick to shove that into the hole. Again, we are not going to connect the relay for the high beam lights. That is the install. Now, what's going to happen with this is when you flip the signal light on, it will try to turn the high beams on still, but it will not turn the high beams on, and the low beams will remain on because the trigger from the wire for the high beam is actually going to trigger the low beam instead, so that the low beam just stays on the whole time. Now, the downside of this is you no longer have any high beams while you're using the truck, which is somewhat of a safety concern if you're traveling on dark roads at night, but it also solves the high beam turning on with your signal light issue until you get a chance to do the proper fix, which is to replace the multifunction switch, which is what we're going to demonstrate next. So I've ordered a new one on Amazon. Now, some people swear by brand new Chevy parts. In my case, you know, this truck is old. It's probably not going to last a long time. So a cheap Amazon part is going to be perfectly acceptable for what we're doing here today. So I'm going to show you guys how to swap your multifunction switch easily on this truck. The first thing we're going to do is pull the tilt steering and bring the steering wheel down. Just like that, and that's so that we can pop off this cover. So then we got to pull this guy out. It's not always going to be super easy. If it's not, screwdriver under there will pop that off pretty easily. Then we need to pop these two pieces apart. Now I've got a flat blade screwdriver that I'm going to use, If you've got a pry tool, that'll work as well, or anything that can basically get into those cracks like that. And then we just pop that off there. I just got my finger in there, pull that off, and then we can slide that up out of the way. Then we pop this guy off and pull that out, and that exposes our multifunction switch. Now there's only 2 screws here holding this thing in, and the one is going to be accessible from the top. I'm just trying to get a view here. This is the top down, and that's our screw right there. The other one is accessible from the front, which we'll have to turn the wheel to get to. But let me get the top one first. Now we are using a T25 Torx bit for this. All we're gonna do is stick it in the top there like this, give it a good crank like that, and that is 1. Next we're gonna start the truck and then turn the steering wheel until it exposes our one right there. So if I turn it like that, you can see it's kind of exposed now. So shut it off, and it's just enough space that I can just get in there like that. This one's a little bit tight and awkward, so you got to make sure you got it all the way in there so you don't strip that head. But if you do it just right, you can get it without pulling that steering wheel off. And a lot of people say you need to, but it looks to me like I don't need to. Now this switch lifts right off just like that. Now there's 2 connectors in the back here. Let's get released just by lifting up this little tab here with your flat blade, if that's still around. There's 1, there's 2, and then there was a 3rd guy hiding on the back side there that needs a tab released as well. And there's 3. And that is the old one out. Now this is the new one here. These things are so inexpensive. I don't know why anyone wouldn't just replace it. It comes wrapped up nicely. But when we compare it to the factory one, this one's, you know, assumed to be factory. When we look at this one, it's got all the same markings. It's got all the buttons on there that you expect, and it should be plug and play. So we're gonna just try and connect these connectors all back up and put it back in. So let's start with the connectors. Now the good thing is these connectors are impossible to screw up, so they only go in one way. So that's it, all the connectors are plugged back in, and then we're just gonna stick this back into position, and it should screw right on. So I'm gonna put the top one in first just to help hold it. There's that guy. And then see if we can get that front one nice and easy. Now this is a great place to pause and just look at this. This actually moves up and down, the whole body does. So I've left the top screw loose so that I could wiggle the bottom up and down until I got that screw in. Now that it's started, I can thread it the rest of the way. Like that, and then I can put the top on the rest of the way tight. Now you could test this now, but I'm so confident in my work that I'm not going to. You just put this all back together. Top on. And now it's time for the test. So, signal light, left signal, working great. Right signal, works. No high beams, just the right signal. Do the wipers work? Yep, wipers work. They worked before, but I'm just wondering if they still work. And then the sprayer also works. Everything on this multi-function switch, all working correctly now. And I know that the hazards works because when I plugged it in, the hazards were actually on. Now the new switch is under $50. It's very inexpensive, and as you can see, it's easy to change with a flat blade screwdriver and a T25 socket. If you need any of the tools and or the parts listed in this video, I'll put a link down in the description below. Otherwise, I'm just happy to help. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.